Michael Danby, I want to talk to you about the so-called ISIS brides. A lot of concern around their return, and there are reports today that Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen had known about the possible return of ISIS brides and their children to Victoria for 5 months, according to the Herald Sun. But she says she had no discussions with the Home Affairs Minister about plans to resettle many of the women and children here. Jacinta Allen has also refused to provide any information about how many were planning to settle in Victoria. And Michael, this of course comes as community leaders are warning that women linked to ISIS fighters, well, they pose a serious threat to the safety of Australian communities.
Peter Stefanovic pointed out that she hadn't spoken to the Home Affairs Minister. Now, a responsible Premier would have rung up Tony Burke or Penny Wong and said, listen, has ASIO eyeballed any of these people? Are we going to have more of them being monitored when they come to Australia? Gabrielle, we already have 18,000. Let me repeat that again. 18,000 people that ASIO has to monitor, mainly because of Islamist extremism. So we just add another group of them to this. On Andrew Bolt's show the other day, I pointed out that we've had 3 incidents in Australia where young teenagers, Islamists, have either been killed themselves, killed the poor Chinese accountant outside Parramatta Police Station, or stabbed an Assyrian bishop in the eye. Do we need more of these people? Wouldn't the cautious and wise thing be to say, no, look, I'm sorry, there is a concern about their well-being. Let's pay them some money and let them live in Turkey.
I want to talk about Iran and the tensions between the US and Iran appearing to reach a tipping point now. There are reports that Israeli families are preparing their missile shelters in preparation for war. And the danger, of course, may not come from Iran, but Hezbollah, which is reportedly primed to launch a coordinated missile strike on Israel if the US attacks Iran over its nuclear program. Michael, this seems to have been building for quite some time now. What's your assessment of where we're at? Are we likely to see an attack in the coming weeks or even days?
Well, the Ayatollahs are feeling a bit cheated because although they subsidise Hezbollah with $1 billion and basically run the outfit, they didn't get any missiles in their support during the 12-day war last year. So they'll be their leadership are sitting on top. Military leaders are actually in Lebanon, sitting on top of Hezbollah, making sure that they'll shoot some missiles if there's an American kinetic action with Iran. So they'll be there to help the Iranians out. The Israelis are being very stoic about it, but I've got family there, and I'm sure people are very worried. Even if you have missile shelters, those heavy ballistic missiles, conventional ones, even that aren't armed with nuclear weapons, are a great threat to civilian centres. And we saw, during the previous episode of the 12-day war in June last year, where, medical centres, research centres were destroyed by those Iranian missiles. And they'll be shooting at the American fleet, at static American bases in the Middle East. They may even try to blow up the Saudi Arabian Aramco oil refineries again, as they did. But they'll certainly be attacking Israel. They'll be their first target. And, Gabrielle, to remind your listeners and viewers, it's a third the size of Tasmania.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty small target to hit with hundreds or thousands of missiles and drones.